Alrighty. New webcam, ultra wide screen. Please pardon the backup camera. I'm not sure if I want to keep this camera. Well, I do want to keep this camera. I just got decisions to make about the viewing angle. But getting on topic here, before I begin, I'm going to share out this link. And for anybody tuning into the replay, I would urge you to consider subscribing. And consider hitting that like button if you like what you see in the, following minutes. Because, I don't think it's fair for me to ask you to hit the like button right now. I mean, that wouldn't be cool. I just remembered I gotta turn on something. But before I do that, we will pause this. Look for Discord and get disjointed. But okay, jokes aside, we're just gonna go to a couple of friendly places on Discord to promote thyself. And of course, that's another thing you can do. You can promote me by sharing my link. If you're on a Discord server with like-minded individuals, and some of them have maybe a section or a hashtag section like promote other people, recommend other content, then yeah, you might want to use that. I would appreciate it. I mean, I do it for other people on occasion. I do it for like 2 people so far. Most people promote themselves because I know most of the people who are on these Discord servers. For example, pardon my language. Oh, good, it was yesterday. Okay, good. I thought I missed a stream that was like last week. Pacific 414 did a stream like on Saturday, a collective stream. So when I went into the Discord to promote, I was like, oh man, he's got a stream on in 1 hour. I don't like bumping into friends' streams. But luckily, that is not the case. So let's see. So far, I went to Star Wars, guys. Now we'll go to the Nerdporial Lifeform. So Nerdporial Lifeform has my link. Huh. That's interesting. Is that how this works? Okay, well, it worked. Okay. Good. So we got Star Wars, guys. Nerdporial. Let's go to Mr. Pacific 414, his Discord, and promote myself there. And then we go to the Echo Base people who have a section called Member Content. I'm hoping that is the same as Promote Yourself. I don't have my own server. Okay, so I don't know if EBN actually has a Promote Other People or Promote Yourself section. But if they do, I would like to promote myself there because they have a huge membership pool to draw from. And when you're involved in conquest, shit. My friend just asked me to bring my Dremel rotary tool to his house tonight. This means 2 things. This means that 1, I have to look for it. 2, I have to make sure I have the attachments. 3, I better bring goggles. Might have to cut the server heatsink to get this card to fit. Oh man, okay, so that's a funny story. But let me finish sharing out this link, and then as we go along, I could tell a funny story about how I bought this graphics card for my server, and it's not a normal graphics card. It's a very good graphics card for scientific computing and stuff like that. Or in my case, video encoding and virtual machines, when the video card has like no video ports on the back, no HDMI ports, no VGA port, no HDMI port, no display port. It's just a video card and some vents on the back of the stupid thing and a big fat heatsink. And if you remove that heatsink, there's like 2 GPU cores on there. So I bought this GPU because there's a feature called GPU pass-through, and it worked okay, but it had a lot of weird limitations because NVIDIA makes like some of the best graphics hardware, but they also have this little issue where they want to charge like licensing fees up the wazoo for everything. Oh, cool. I was just reposting my link into the tech discussion section on the Notorial Lifeforms Discord server. I suggested it a while ago because I thought it would be a good idea, and you know, I figured out like if people wanted to exchange information on tech discussion, if I could contribute in some way by imparting what I've learned over the years, and you know, from my work experience, but as well as just my personal side business efforts and what have you. And real quick, I gotta delete something. Oh, thank God. Okay, good. I was worried I wouldn't be able to delete something from a chat room from yesterday's video, and today I will pay better attention to the chat. Yesterday I wasn't paying good attention to the chat on the current video because I was kind of just, you know, winging it. First time I did a proper what do you call it? Well, not proper, but using StreamYard. StreamYard. First time I used StreamYard to, you know, have people like, you know, join the discussion, which was really cool. But the caveat was that, you know, now you're interacting with a human being and you got to pay attention on both ends, and so, you know, you make compromises. But no, it was cool talking to Zanzotan yesterday, another person I recommend on a stream, and holy shoot, I was just opening up Stellarium real quick because I'm closing up all of the apps I left open yesterday, and in Stellarium I saw like a bunch of swirling shit and it looked like a meteor shower. Now we're looking at Starlink satellites. In fact, this looks like a satellite train. We got 2 Starlink satellites following one another. They actually haven't really gotten in my way as far as astrophotography, and I think part of the reason for that is, wow, they're everywhere. It's like 1 and 2 going this way, another one on a different set of orbital parameters. But no, they haven't really been a problem, and you'll see these pictures in like places like Chile, where they have the super duper high-end observatories, and you know, because like it's in the middle of like, you know, really great places like dry weather, no humidity. You know, these are the kind of places that, you know, you want to do this. By the way, if this is the first time I'm using, whoops, did my computer just freak out? Okay, I might have spoken too soon here. Okay, hopefully, I don't know why Chrome just locked up, but, whew, okay, maybe I should clean up my Chrome tabs a little bit. You know what? I'm gonna close this entire Chrome window here. I'm not using StreamYard. Wow, Chrome really is unhappy right now. All work and play makes Google Chrome a dull browser. I guess it's kind of interesting when it malfunctions, huh? So, there we go. Okay, good, it unlocked, but I gotta be careful here because, looks like Chrome ain't liking what I'm doing to it. Let's see, where do I... Okay, so I have one Chrome window that has a restore button from the last time my computer rebooted and crashed. Hey! What's up, Pacific 414? It's good to see you here today. You know, yesterday I did a stream using StreamYard with Zanzotan, and, you know, it's pretty cool. You know, so far the only reason I can see there being a use to using StreamYard is that I can, you know, send a link, and it's very convenient to have multiple people in it. Other than that, you know, I felt like I had to keep track of a little bit more. Not the end of the world. For most people, they don't run it the same way I do. So, you know, using StreamYard is very convenient. In my case, I'm actually very comfortable using OBS the way I use it. Like, this is so cool. Like, I don't know. I like this setup here. You know, it's just like, it's similar to Streamlabs OBS, which from what I understand, there's like a downloadable version and one that you can run inside a web browser, which is flexible and cool, but I'd rather have an app on my computer, settings that are stored in my computer. And also, I find that OBS is cool because I can use it for other things. I can use it to like run a surveillance camera on my turtle tank in a pinch if I don't have time to set up something proper, which is really the best way to go, is to set up something proper. But today we're going to be modifying or upgrading a modified original Xbox. And to that end, I've already gone ahead and did some preparation. I also got a new webcam, which is why I don't know if the video is 60 frames a second. It might not occur until after the video is recorded and, you know, in review mode. But this webcam is a little better. My last webcam was capable of 1080p at 30 frames a second. This one is 1080p at 60 frames a second, but it also has an absurdly wide angle lens on it, which may not be a bad thing. But in any case, it's not a big deal. Set course to Vulcan Warp 5. You know what, Pacific 414? I would love to set course for the planet Vulcan at Warp 5, but I can't because J.J. Abrams' ass destroyed it. And then those assholes who made that Picard show, or Paramount, who was all like, you know, all about supporting that effort, they was all like, it's gonna be prime timeline, guys. And then they kind of like didn't make it prime timeline, and then every person that like isn't like as much of a Trekkie as I or you, or okay, maybe I shouldn't be saying who has a right to call themselves a Trekkie, you know, that's not fair. But in any case, I think I'm a pretty ardent Trekkie myself. I mean, like, I used to insist on being called a Trekker, but I realized that doesn't matter. Trekkie, Trekker, tomato, tomato. At my job, I work with mainframes, and one or two mainframes, and my boss, when I'm reading the end of shift turnover log, I sometimes have to read entries that say update POMLib, and it means parameter libraries, like an abbreviation or acronym abbreviation. And when I say POMLib, my manager's like, it's POMLib. And I'm like, I get it, POMLib, L-I-B, lib is short for library, but I mean, it doesn't roll off the tongue right. You know, I mean, if we wanted to say it properly, why not just read the whole name out, parameter library? So, you know, there's that. And speaking of Pacific 414, who may or may not still be in the chat, I mean, I'm all like, where the heck is my YouTube window? Did I close that? I think I closed that. Yeah, I closed it. Okay, well, the stream should still be running. Luckily, that's the cool thing about, you know, using OBS instead of StreamYard is that I don't have to worry if my browser is working. Yeah, okay, good. My stream is still running, and if I click on it, I can watch it live. And it looks like I'm getting 60. Oh, yeah, I'm getting 720p, 60 frames a second. All right. That is great. So I'm just going to jump over to YouTube Studio so I can monitor the metrics or whatever they call it. Whoops. Uh-oh. Did I break it? No, I did not break it. The analytics, and right now my analytics panel is blank. Don't know why. Maybe it, I don't know. This is funny. YouTube be like, your current stream bitrate is like 33,000 kilobits a second higher than we recommend. And it's like, I've been reading mixed information on what the recommended, you know, bitrate is, so I decided to like just do whatever I want, you know, and I was like, I don't care, you know, I'm just gonna like run it at an absurdly high bitrate. And wow, okay, got 2 viewers, 1 concurrent viewer. I don't know if that means there's 1 concurrent viewer now or what, but I think it means there's 1 viewer right now. So first step, we're gonna attempt to connect this Molex power adapter. So, you know, as the thumbnail for this video shows, it's the Xbox with its top cover opened. Now, Xboxes use the old hard drive connector known as a ribbon cable. I think it's called an IDE or EIDE or parallel ATA cable, but it looks like a ribbon. And newer hard drives use this thing here called serial ATA. Kind of looks like USB, but it's not. But, you know, I mean, it's a little tiny itty-bitty thing. And serial ATA, when it came out, was slightly faster than, you know, the old standard, but very quickly surpassed it. So we want this Molex connector is like the type you see on the inside of a desktop computer, especially with older peripherals. This here is the new serial ATA connector, and by new I mean 2004. probably like out a little earlier, but that's when I first saw it. That's when the first time I saw serial ATA. Now, problem is that with these types of connectors, the metal pins move a little bit on the inside along with the wires. So when you try to plug one of these in, the pins are never really quite lined up with the holes on this. And what I did was, I have already had a modified Xbox, but when I bought it, the hard drive was like at capacity. And I mean, like, I modded Xboxes from scratch like back in 2005, but you know, I needed to get back on the horse because like that Xbox got stolen. Funny story here. So my friend had like a house where people would go hang out and drink, and well, my friend's sister had a degenerate boyfriend, or on and off boyfriend, or I don't know, some degenerate piece of shit. And this guy, like, you know, was probably on drugs half the time and shit, like hard drugs. And my friend's house was kind of fucked up because like they had a downstairs apartment, and then the parents lived upstairs, and they rented out a room in the downstairs area and shit. But anyway, the front door of the house, like the lock broke, and you could literally just push the front door open like like there was no latch, no deadbolt. There was nowhere for the deadbolt to engage. And so they would just put like a fucking, like, you know, stuff in front of the door to close it, but it was not positively locked. And back then I would sometimes leave my modified Xbox at his house, so when I visited it would be there. Now this was sick because I had the coolest case for my Xbox, dude. I had like it was like a, I don't know, like one of those, like, it was like a big laptop case, but for the OG Xbox. It like had a big compartment in the middle for the Xbox. It had like one side like snapped or zippered shut, and then the other side where like the controller like went, like I think like one side was velcroed open and the other side had a zipper on it or some shit, or maybe both sides were velcro. But the idea was that you could leave the Xbox in this soft case, which was pretty rigid, and you can open up the front and back, plug in your power cord, hook everything up very quickly, and have your game pads plugged into the front without taking it out of the case. And the side of the case actually had vents on it to allow air to enter, and then it would come out through the back of the Xbox, which I might as well show you. So, original Xbox design 101. We got a fan right here, or here. This fan is an exhaust fan, so air comes out, so it's passing that way. So the air goes in on either side. You can see if there's vents here and here. So air goes into the side, comes out the back. And I'm not really trying to take this apart today. I mean, I'm only doing a minimum effort on this unit, but it just so happens that the heatsink, the aluminum heatsink for the processor is like right here. So it's sort of like doing double duty. It's a main exhaust fan, but it's also cooling the processor, which is a variant of the Pentium 3, which has some in common with a late Celeron of that era, and a bit in common with the Pentium 3, but I'm not going to get into that. Also, interesting side note is this side of the Xbox has the power supply unit. It's very similar to a desktop PC power supply, but of course, you know, much lower wattage since it only has to accommodate the demands of an Xbox. And an Xbox of this era was not very demanding. Dusty. So we currently have a stock hard drive in here. I believe it's a 10 gig or 8 gig. Might be a 12 gig. WD8. Oh, no, this is an upgrade. I think this is an upgrade. This might be, Did I do this? Oh no, this might not be an upgrade. This might be an 8 gigabyte hard drive. That's why it's got a model number with an 80 on it, because it's not 80 gig, it's 8 gig. Man, I feel like YouTube's mad at me today. Nobody's watching. I mean, it could just be the time that I shared out my link, but I picked a redonkulously high bit rate for this stream today. Like, I went over the top, and I'm not sure if I can stop and start the stream at a lower bit rate, but I don't want to break the stream. Let me see, can I do that? I mean, I'm not planning on doing it, but can you stop and resume the same stream on YouTube? Just curious if that, you know, does anything. Can I resume broadcasting of an interrupted stream? Let's see. And nobody answered this question. That's not fair. I don't like when people ask good questions on the internet and nobody answers them. Okay, well maybe, no, that's... Yeah, it's not a straight answer on... can you stop streaming and start same on YouTube? Let's see here. Because I'm doing it like through OBS and I can stop and start streaming. How do I stop a live stream? No, I know how to stop a live stream. Okay, whatever. I'm not doing this right now. And real quick, does having too high bit rate cause problems on YouTube stream? You know what? I'm not gonna focus on that. So, wow, why do I have so much shit open in Chrome? Like, what is this? Do I have some kind of malware? Like, I got 2 Chrome windows open, and I'm about to close them. Okay, so I closed one. About to break the browser. Okay, close the other one. I got like 1 Chrome window open right now. I'm gonna close every Chrome window as a matter of principle because I don't think it's fair that Chrome is like eating up all of my resources, like by opening up 50 processes. Okay, there we go. So we closed YouTube, we closed Chrome, we reopened it, we should be fine. So we're gonna go on to the next step. We got the power connector. We used a Molex to serial ATA adapter. Yesterday I used tape to kind of just build my own modified adapter cable, and it worked. But see, another issue I had was I think I have a problem with my USB hub, because when I put on like 3 webcams, or if I put on my microscope camera, which is like an unusual device, it increases the probability of my computer just outright crashing. Oh shit. That's interesting. So apparently YouTube found a violation of my terms and policies on YouTube yesterday. And uh-oh, I better clean that up real quick, man. I don't mean to be managing my YouTube content, but I don't know if that caused... I hope that, you know, it's not a copyright strike. So, I mean, I'm not going to appeal it if it's inconsequential. I think what happened was I shared a link in the chat room that I should not have shared. Or I went into detail on monetary economics from the 1970s to present. And the Great Depression. But I don't think that would do it, but... Well, that's very interesting. I'll play with that later. Well, okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. As long as I don't get another strike, because then I have to start a new channel, and it took me a decade to build up my subscriber base. No, I'm kidding. I mean, that's only because I played this just as hard as I play World of Warcraft. Not very hard at all. Let's see, how do we do this? Okay, there we go. Back into the control panel. Okay, so good. I cleaned up my task manager. Now we're gonna get to the fun stuff. Alright, so on my desk, let me just go ahead. Okay, this ain't bad. I gotta say, this ultra wide webcam is nice because I can give it a tighter view, and you know, you can still see stuff. So, you know, maybe a keeper. As for my desk cam, let's just shuffle this over here. Okay, we got a hard drive. We got a serial ATA to USB adapter. I have a USB hub, which is right here. This one I picked up because it's got switches on it. Like, you can turn off and on individual ports. On the other hand, certain peripherals will sometimes trigger me to have a crash. So, not sure if that's, you know, what's going on here. But in any case, we have serial ATA hard drive. We got the USB connector in already, which I don't know if I should have done that first, but we're gonna spin up the hard drive. It's spinning, I can feel it. And now we're gonna go ahead and prep this drive for modification. Just gonna, no, I shouldn't really do this on screen like this, but it's a bigger window. I like doing it, so there we go. And that is my ultra widescreen monitor, which is prohibitively wide. Okay, I guess we'll shrink this a bit. There we go. That should be wide enough. And then we can even put this on top of this. Whoops. Just like that. So we got like a little diagonal thing going on here. That could be kind of fun. I could even make myself larger, I guess, too. Whoops, we don't need to see more window. We could do something like that. Okay, that could work. Holy shit, this camera is wide. I mean, you could really see like everything. Like apparently I didn't realize you could see the VCR. I got like, I don't even know what's in here. I found this while I was cleaning up. I think it's a poncho, or yeah, it's a poncho, which I have plenty of ponchos. I have a dedicated raincoat for my bike, which reminds me, Pacific, I've been putting on weight, and I remember you put forth an idea where I could bike somewhere, you know, where your family used to live, and you know, on where I, you know, on my community of Staten Island, and so it's like a long bike ride away from where I live, but I'm like, this is good because I can ride there and, you know, shed off some weight, because I used to ride my bike like fucking 8 miles a day, like every single work day, and then I slacked a lot in recent time, but want to get back on the old horse because it's starting to put on a little weight here, you know. I mean, no big deal, but you know, it's good to strike a balance. So getting back on topic here. All right. So we got the hard drive here, and we need to put data on here. But before we can put data on here, we need to prep the hard drive for use with an Xbox. So far, what I did was I did a disk management. See, this is the part where I should really keep the ultra wide screen up running. Okay, let's go ultra wide. Yeah, you know what? I gotta do that. Okay. I can always, oh yeah, I'll figure it out. Alright. So, anyway. Let me just clean this up. Okay, so in Windows we could right click on the start menu to get a hidden menu. It's not really hidden, it's just an alternative menu. And we click on disk management. And once in disk management, you can use this if you ever have a flash drive that's giving you a hard time, or you want to really, you know, erase something. I mean, you know, it's not going to do like a DOD wipe, but, you know, you want to delete the partition table. Maybe you want to start fresh, you know, whatever. You know, maybe you're doing a new OS install and you have the hard drive in your hand that you're going to install the OS on, and you want to like prep it. So I had this hard drive I found that was in a Linux, an older, a random Linux machine I used to run. And so I deleted the partitions on it. I created a new blank partition, and then I formatted it temporarily to test it out. And I left some free space off at the end. Out of 4 terabytes, like 200 megabytes of free space. So now I just want to find something I had that gave me some relevant info. But our goal today, I guess it would be worth notating or mentioning, is simply to copy the files required in order for a modified Xbox to work. You know, a soft modded Xbox is really cool. In fact, is that what got me in trouble? You know, I'm pretty sure. So what got me in trouble yesterday? Well, we'll find out. I guess we'll just find out. So modified Xbox or a software modified Xbox, which other people are talking about on YouTube, so I'm sure that's not why my video got struck. Well, not struck, but, you know, violation of terms. You know, it just lets you play games off the internal hard drive so that you don't have to get up and put the disc in, which I think is very useful. Even for games you legitimately own, I think it's nice to be able to put the disc in. And to still have the flexibility to access that disc is very important. So there was a guy who did a video where he put like a 16 terabyte hard drive into an Xbox, and it kind of inspired me. I said, you know what, I need to get back onto the wagon. Now this guy did it some other way. He like used a mod chip basically to save him some work, but I'm not looking for a 16 terabyte drive. I might even end up with a 500 gig drive when done. I just need something bigger than the 200 gig drive that's currently in my main Xbox, because it's not enough. So as I was saying before, I had this Xbox years ago that was heavily modded. It got stolen, and I had like a hard drive laying around that contained the same data, but it was encrypted because everything on Xbox is encrypted. There's like a chip in there called an EEPROM chip, Erasable Programmable Read-Only Memory. And in my case, what you would do is you would have to like take an Xbox, put in a game like Mech Warrior, which had a bug in it, a unique bug, and if you had a special game save, and you can, you know, and you had that special game save either on a memory card or on a USB to Xbox dongle, you would be able to load that game save. You would have to take that memory card game save, use the Xbox memory card manager to copy it to, you know, the memory card storage, which always said 5,000 blocks. It never had less than 5,000 blocks, no matter how many game saves you had. And game saves don't eat up a lot of memory, but this game save was unique because when you went and opened up Mech Warrior, instead of, you know, seeing like a name like Johnny's game save, it would say load Linux, and you would click on this game save to play the game save load Linux, and the screen would blank out, boom, turn black, and then go to a command line and then run a script, and poof, you'd be in like a magical menu. Or it would be running a different dashboard, as they call it in Xbox parlance. So, you know, from that menu, it ran an FTP server on the Xbox, and you can use a FTP file transfer utility on your home network to access the files on the Xbox. And one of the files you would do is, like, first thing you do, you go to a menu on the special menu, and you would back up the EEPROM code from the chip on the motherboard, and then you would copy that file over the FTP to your computer. Once you did that, if you had any accidents, you were pretty secure in being able to get back up and running sooner or later without any, you know, fuss. But you would then take this EEPROM code and you would use it while modding a new hard drive, which is like the one on my desk right now. And so you'd basically put all of the files and folders that are required for an Xbox to work onto that. Now, back in the day, I had a different method of doing this. I would start off by having a blank drive, and I would just use the Xbox hard drive maker utility to clone one of these drives onto that drive, because I figure if this is a working Xbox, then, you know, that's a baseline configuration that will work. Today we're going to use what they call the Rocky 5 Xbox mod, which is partly here. So I have, like, let me see here, I got this here. And let me see if I can find where I put the Rocky 5 files. Yeah, that's what it's called, Rocky 5 Xbox mod utility or some shit like that. And it has, like, you know, a handful of things in here. So I copied the Xbox hard drive maker here. Where did I put it? I better find it. Oh, I remember what I did. I think I created a folder called like Xbox mod. I don't know. Well, that's interesting, but I remember testing this utility yesterday, so I know I have it. But either way, I just downloaded it, so I'll just recopy the file and rerun it straight from this folder. So we got Xbox hard drive maker USB right here. So what was cool was I used to have to use an old Dell computer, old Dell desktop to do this, and I remember like a year ago I tried doing the same thing, but with a newer thing, and when I did this, things got weird. Like, oh wow, okay, so that's interesting. So it actually works in 64-bit. So things got really weird when I did it this way. Like, first the one computer was too new, even though it was from 2008. The motherboard was too new. Then the next computer I did it with, the motherboard wasn't too new, but like apparently just wasn't compatible. So that was like two failed setups right there. Okay, so that's interesting. Oh, I know why. I still gotta set up the data here. So I remember I was testing this out yesterday to make sure that it actually worked. I just wanted to see it work, and it did some cool stuff. Like, it worked, and I'm just trying to remember. Oh, I remember how I did this. I went to hard drive maker. No, yeah, I don't know. I did a dry run yesterday because I wanted to make sure that I could do this. But I do have my external drive connected, so that's a start. And I do remember opening this up on this computer. And then I also remember copying my downloads folder to my other drive letter when I realized that. Alrighty, so we got this. But essentially with Xbox hard drive maker, you take all of the files for a working Xbox, you put them in the C drive folder. For the C drive folder, the E drive is literally the game saves for the original Xbox. That's where, you know, any saved data you put goes into the E drive. So theoretically, excuse me, you back up the E drive and you're backing up your game saves, which is good to know when it becomes necessary. Ah, here we go. I found the folder. I had it on my E drive, which, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and delete. Actually, do we want to delete this? Well, it depends on how many gigs we're talking about. Okay, 48 gigs free. I think we'll be fine here. So what we see here is really just a backup set of folders, and the one we don't really need at this stage is the F drive. But we'll get a tally on what's on that folder anyway. Hey, what's up, Zanzo Dan, man? How you doing? Yeah, so right now we're just doing a little upgrade action on the OG Xbox. And to that end, let's turn on camera 2. Where's camera 2? Camera 2, where are you? Okay, good, good. That's perfect. It can mostly see my stuff. So yeah, we got that Western Digital blue hard drive. That's what we're looking at in the top right corner. So I got a Western Digital blue, an external power supply which resembles a desktop computer power supply. We got the serial ATA and a USB adapter here. And I was just jogging my memory from yesterday. We got at least 40 gigs, probably 100 gigs of stuff in that F drive folder. But really, we mainly care about the C and E drive. These are the C drive and E drive folders, respectively, for the original Xbox. We got .xbe for Xbox executable, which is synonymous for a Windows .exe file, or similar, same concept. So today, Zanzo10, what I'm doing is I'm gonna upgrade the hard drive in this Xbox, hopefully, or we're gonna upgrade that hard drive in the Xbox that's hooked up to my TV. I don't really care which one right now. I just need an Xbox hard drive upgrade, and if all is right, yep, we already have a backup of the EEPROM on this folder here, And there's really no secret info here because when I bought this Xbox from someone, they already zeroed out or nulled the, call it nulling the code, which I didn't know you could do up until I bought this Xbox. But that's interesting because it means that years ago I ran into a problem. What happened was I was modding Xbox for like a friend. It was like the third Xbox or fourth Xbox I modded, and things were going pretty well, except that my boy Jim was just being a pain in my ass by being, you know, annoying. And I'm working on my shit in my fucking, you know, lab, so to speak, and I'm doing everything and things going pretty well, except that fucking I'm being distracted. So at some point, the way I used to mod Xboxes was I would have a known good Xbox configuration and I would clone it to another hard drive, and I would just do it like that. It would take longer, but it was like, you know, I just figured, okay, this is safe and secure. But every time you access data on Xbox hard drive, you have to unlock it and relock it, and sometimes you'd have like a unique boot disk for each Xbox drive. You could theoretically combine them, but I would just label them accordingly: Ron's Xbox, Jim's Xbox, Marty's Xbox. But in fact, I never did one for Jim because he never, you know, paid me for one, so I never did his. But anyway, you know, you could do something like that. Now, if I had the ability to null out the codes back then, I wouldn't have lost access to a drive. But even years later, like, there was a service where you paid them $50 online. They're like, oh yeah, we'll remotely unlock the hard drive for you, which was bullshit because it was technically impossible. But like, I was like after years and years of looking at this service that existed, which is amazing that you can find it so easily on, you know, Google. Everyone cares about fraud, but then the corporations that care so much about fraud and stuff suddenly don't care when it's right under their noses. Anyway, so we're gonna apply the, you have to, anytime you want to, you have to have a matching code for the Xbox motherboard and the hard drive that you're putting in that Xbox. So before you remove the hard drive, you got to back up that code because you can't read or write to that drive unless you have that code. And yesterday I did this, and I had trouble doing it just now. But I'm thinking I did something wrong. Maybe I should just read the README file and see what they say. Whoops. I hate when that happens. Okay, source for QEMU. Nope, I don't need to know about QEMU. QEMU is like a virtual machine program. What we really care about is the Xbox. Oh, here we are. Now I remember how to do this. Yes. You run this Xbox hard drive.bat. It's a batch file, or Windows bat file as they call it, and it's just a script, but it can also double as a program. And this one here is going to give us a friendly menu asking us to list the drives that we have connected, and it should detect the Western Digital drive that I have plugged in. So that's good. Yeah, that's good. Then I can press any key, and I can lock or unlock a hard drive, or I can run Xbox HDM. Now, before we initiate Xbox HDM, we're going to take the C and E drive folders that we have here and add them accordingly. So this is this original C drive from an Xbox that works because I FTP'd into it in my own house. And this is a working E drive, which includes the EEPROM code for that Xbox. Now, that means that when everything's said and done, the drive that's in front of me should work inside of that Xbox, not this one. But maybe I nulled out the code on this one. I don't remember. I might have nulled the code on here, so I'm willing to try it. Or at the very least, I'll turn on this Xbox in a little while, see if it actually works. If it's modded already, I'll back up the EEPROM code. I could very quickly relock the drive with the same EEPROM code, so I'm not terribly worried. Cool. No problems, Ansel 10. If I'm still here an hour, I may or may not be, because I'll be doing dinner in about an hour myself. But you enjoy your dinner, and thanks for tuning in. Alrighty, so we're just duplicating data, even though I could just move the data. I'm copying it just so I don't lose it. I have it in a folder called safe. I think this folder is excluded from antivirus, you know, because there's certain times where you have something that's being a pain in the butt. Now, in the meantime, it looks like before I, you know, I don't know if Xbox, there's a program called Fat Explorer. And I'm thinking that it's probably not necessary to use this program, except that Fat Explorer allows you to deal with 20 to 16 terabyte hard drives. On what console? Xbox 360 apparently, so I don't need that. But apparently it can format a original Xbox hard drive. So you know what? I'm gonna download Fat Explorer just in case it saves me a little bit of effort. I have a 64-bit version of Windows, so I'm going to download a 64-bit version. And bear in mind, there is a way to use this to deal with Xbox memory units in case you ever need to back them up or something like that. Although I don't think anybody ever owned an original Xbox memory card. I mean Xbox 360 memory card. Neither, you know, like nobody bought the original Xbox memory cards. Although I do have a couple for modding and, you know, transferring data, but almost nobody ever bought the OG Xbox memory card. And looks like this download ain't happening. Oh, that's why. It's like, oh, this ain't safe. It's like, yeah, whatever. You're just trying to make me not use it. Okay, so we got it. We got Obese Explorer. I mean, Fat Explorer. So we'll just put it right here in my Xbox folder. Then we're gonna go and see what happens when we open this. 7 of 7 days remaining. What, they're trying to sell me this? Get that out of here. This computer program is protected by copyright law. Copyright law? People use this to do piracy. Okay, maybe not. Actually, this can be used for legitimately clean homebrew, so I should not be spreading rumors like that. It's not appropriate. It's not fair. It's basically, you know, the bullshit that politicians and lobbyists use in order to convince us of stuff. So 7 days, blah blah. Do want to be left in the dark with Fat Xbox. You're using a trial edition license which expires. If you don't want to be left in the dark when it expires, purchase a license soon. Well, let's see. I'm just curious what they charge for a license. I can't read that. I can't read that. Why is everyone speaking Spanish? Damn it! Where's Zanzeltan when you need him? It's not worth buying anymore. Support blames your PC and computer and not the software, even after you tried multiple different computers, cables, and hard drives. Hi, Jared. The current version should fix most issues in terms of access denied, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, yeah, I'm not complaining. There's a problem showing Xbox 360 internal drive. Any suggestions? Okay, I shouldn't be mocking people. But, anyway, people, I just want to know, okay, what do they charge for? I don't even know what you get for your money. 25 bucks, if it works. For 25 bucks and stuff. I'm all about supporting the wow, you're still here, get out of here. Because if you don't get out of here, I'm gonna ask you to translate this shit. No, I'm kidding. Please don't translate it, because I'm sure just people either saying they like it or they're complaining about this programmer. You know, and either way it comes with the territory. So okay, so we got the download, we don't need to buy it. What does this say? Integration driver is mandatory. I swear, if this asks me to restart my computer, a reboot is almost always required at the end. You know what? We're gonna do without this for like a minute. Let's see how far we get without Fat Explorer. Okay, so we got our C and E drive files in place. We got the EEPROM code floating around somewhere. In fact, that reminds me, do I have to put the EEPROM? I'm surprised it's not asking for EEPROM code here. Whatever, maybe it'll let me browse for it later. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and launch Xbox Hard Drive Maker. Ah, that's a sensible question. I would assume yes in this particular case, but you know, like some of the more fancy software will give people a hard time. That's good. I'm glad they allow people to do that, because it wouldn't be fair. It's like, especially for a little utility like this. On the other hand, you know, it depends. Some people abuse it. But anyway, physical drive, enter choice. Okay, so am I entering choice number 3? I'm not comfortable with entering option number 3 for the only drive on the list, but we're gonna do it, so maybe there's a reason. Maybe it's excluding the other hard drives in my machine, which is good because I don't want this erasing any of my other drives. Thankfully, all of the hard drives in my computer are Seagate. Not because I'm a Seagate fanboy, it just so happens. Like, I've long since gave up brand loyalty to hard drives. I'll buy any hard drive as long as it's, you know, somewhat well reviewed, as long as like that model isn't deceptively marketed, which they were doing a few years ago. But I digress. So okay, we know the okay. Enter choice or press enter to go back. So I entered choice number. Oh, that's not good. Maybe I have to reformat the drive, or maybe the drive is too big. So that worked. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna exit this and we're gonna switch the hard drive we're using. So we're gonna actually, we're not gonna switch it yet. Well, let me think. How do I want it? Let me see if I have a 500 gig hard drive in my desk first. I would like to take the path of least resistance. Like, even a 4 terabyte drive would be quite acceptable. And I mean, at some point I gotta plug this one in. I might do a separate video on this one. This is a 40 megabyte drive from an old Packard Bell computer. This one happens to be Western Digital. You can even see like the motor from the side. If you look at it from the side, you can actually see like this shiny disc. That's like the motor. And then like if you move this thing by hand, you can actually, there's like a little knob here, and if you move it, the read-write heads move, which is really scary because you can move the read-write heads horizontally when the shit is off, which is probably bad. Like really bad. Okay, so we had a 4 terabyte Seagate drive. I have a 4 gigabyte, I mean Western Digital, and now I have a 4 gigabyte Seagate here. A 4 terabyte. This one here is also, I believe, a 4 terabyte. This one is a Hitachi. This one's also 7200 RPM, which could be some advantageousness. And this one is a SAS drive of 6 terabytes, so it has no use for what we're doing now, but... Ow! And I probably just broke it. Nah, the hard drive's gonna be pretty resilient. By the way, I found the missing part from my Millennium Falcon inside the desk drawer that is currently inaccessible, but I found it. I could put my fingers into the drawer and just reach it. So, only reason I would try out one of these other drives is just to kind of like see if they are compatible. So, you probably, I can't see the right side of my screen in this here, but I just ejected the 4 terabyte drive. So now what we do is we unplug the power from it. We turn off the USB port. It's still spinning down. I can feel the disk drive spinning. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to repeat. We're going to go plug in the power or the SATA connection. Either way. And there we go. So now we have that slim line. It's a little slimmer, which is kind of nice because it should use less electricity and be cool running. So we gotta plug in the power supply. There's no switch, just a on off like that. Okay, and then when it spins up, in the meantime I'm gonna go and test out this Xbox, see what happens when I plug it in, and I should be able to show that. Okay, so when I turn on my Xbox, it should do it. Hey Google, switch input to HDMI 1. Alright, I got good news and bad news. Good news is the disc is spinning. Oh, did I turn on the USB port? I did not turn on the USB port. Okay, good. Alright, good news is I found my misplaced TV remote. Not that I really need it. Bad news is I don't know what a remote for my HDMI source selector is, but I just installed it. Maybe I'll find it while I get back to my screen. So we're gonna hook this up. Whew. That makes an ugly sound, and the picture is a little off. Ho ho! Okay, that hard drive, that Xbox is sketchy. Eureka! Got it. Okay, if this is working as it's supposed to, we should see the screen do something. I noticed the old Xbox does a lot of funny business when you're... Oh man, that's probably where I dropped the other thing. Okay, good. That works. And I have another hard drive I can use I just found. Now while looking for another hard drive, I did find a couple of laptop hard drives that I can use in the future, because what I really want to do at some point is install a laptop hard drive in Xbox, or even a solid state. Since like every non-M.2, every serial ATA solid state drive runs on is a 2.5 inch. Okay, good. So we can see this drive and there's nothing on it, and it's a 4 terabyte. So now we're gonna go back to running that batch file. And it's gonna say list hard drives connected, and it says Seagate 4 terabyte. Now, there is one caveat. No, wait. There's no caveat. I have 4 8 terabyte drives in this machine, but they're not being detected by this, which is good. Now we're going to see if Xbox Hard Drive Maker freaks out when I select this drive. So that's very interesting. It's going back to the beginning of the menu. And so this may mean that I'll have a bit more struggle. My hope and my guess is, and I'm not really sure if this is the case, is either that the drive is too big, which is hopefully the 1 terabyte drive won't be too big, or the drive is not formatted. Now if it's not formatted, it's a simple matter of me using that other utility, using the Xbox Fat Explorer, then I have no complaints. But if it's too big, oops, I should not have done that. I just plugged the power connector in while it was powered, which didn't cause any problem, but it's not. Ugh. I don't know if you can hear that. This hard drive is making real ugly sounds. I don't think this drive is in a good frame of mind. Now, also, I should mention that the Xbox has used the older IDE standard, but I do have a adapter that converts serial ATA to IDE, so no trouble there. Now, as for this hard drive, assuming there's no data worth recovering from it, this will basically enter the collectibles kit. This, you could basically take it apart, remove the magnet from it. Hard drives have exceptionally strong magnets. You can have a lot of fun playing with the magnets in a hard drive. Back when I worked at Best Buy, I learned this activity where you would write a name of someone on a hard drive, especially if they were leaving the Geek Squad. You'd write their name on a magnet and you would throw it at the metal ceiling, because every Best Buy store had a metal ceiling. I mean, I used to do it randomly, but then at one point a supervisor was like, you know, this is actually a tradition. And I was like, oh, I did not know that. I was just doing this for fun. Find a hard drive. Ugh. Okay, we have a hard drive. Okay, we got 3 hard drives. Surely one of them has to work. Now the 6 terabyte drive I found, that one wouldn't work in an Xbox anyway, but I'm going to use it for what I call a cold storage backup. Basically, sets of data that I don't want to, you know, like that I want to keep stored in multiple places. We'll go on to that. Okay, so this looks like a 1 terabyte drive. First drive we're going to try is this one, because it's got the least value. It's a 640 gigabyte Western Digital Green, which it's not like, you know, the highest performance, but it might use less electricity and run cool. On the downside, it might do some funny business where it'll automatically spin down without being told to, but that might be an advantage because I can always, you know, the way I see it, a hard drive is always going to be faster than a CD or DVD in an original Xbox. But it's designed to, you know, deal with hard drives that, you know, I mean, basically it's designed to deal with a CD, DVD drive. DVD drives have major latency or lag issues sometimes, and so I don't foresee any real issue associated with a drive that constantly chooses to spin down, because even though the spin up will, you know, what happens is the drive will stop spinning to save electricity if it's not being used, and the instant a program tries to access it, then it will spin back up, and that might take a couple of seconds, maybe like 5 seconds or so, and therefore that can cause problems in games, I figured. But then my friend pointed out, well, you know, it's designed to work with DVD, CD, optical disc drive, and those are pretty much the king of latency. So, you know, with that in mind, it should actually work quite fine. Now, only issue is every time I use this program, it goes back to the menu, like as you can see here, and it says blah blah blah, 1 terabyte Raspberry Pi. Da, da, da. How the hell did he do that? That is cool. I want to know how someone used a Raspberry Pi to get the EEPROM. Oh, that is so cool. See, I always wanted this because one of the things I have a hard drive laying around that has some data on it that I can't access. So I was thinking about building or buying a device that can interface. Now apparently there's a way to interface a Raspberry Pi with the motherboard or the chip on the motherboard of an OG Xbox and use that to dump the EEPROM, which is awesome because, like, I may have the hard drive in this house. I may have the Xbox motherboard in this house with the EEPROM code associated with the hard drive that I have, which is locked. In fact, when I went to the shelf, I was looking at a Seagate drive. I thought this might have been it, but it's not. Oh god. This hard drive is not going to work. Oh, I know what this is. This is a good hard drive. This is a cool hard drive. This has some unique information on it. Nothing really special, actually, but what happened was I fried the hard drive. I had some valuable memories on here. Nothing too valuable, but, you know, things I didn't want to lose. And I plugged the power connector in backwards and fried the logic board, or the controller board. So I actually removed the controller board from this drive. And I actually have to go on eBay and buy a new controller board. Now, on the downside, swapping controller boards might be bad because, like, if there's, like, a bad sector list on it, that's a problem. But my hope is that it doesn't matter, and if it's good enough for me to retrieve data, then it's fine. So I may be able to buy this hard drive for $20 and swap the logic boards to get access to the data on it. So I'll consult my friend about that later because maybe he'll have some insight in the data recovery aspect of that. but this drive is of relatively medium value. There we go. Protect that drive. Alright. So it's going to be the 640 gig and the 1 terabyte drive. Now, Xbox hard drive maker keeps looping back. And looks like the post is 2 years old. Yeah, so that should work. Okay, so we're going to try this alternate version of Xbox hard drive maker. The fudge? Right, that I don't like. Oh gosh. Don't tell me it just... These bastards. Okay, well that's okay, so... We're gonna just make a new folder. We're gonna... In fact, it looks like I had the right one, but you know, I'm just trying to play it safe now, so... I'm gonna do that. Same program as far as I know, but it's a different beta. It's like beta 3 instead of beta 4. Supposedly that's supposed to behave better. And then we're just going to take the drive files and merge them into this here. Oh, look at that. This one's already a little different. Considerably different. Okay, so we got the drive connected. We're running the utility. It's probably loading. List disk. Disk recognized. It's launched Xbox hard drive maker. Enter choice. So I enter choice number 3. And it does nothing. looks like. That's annoying. See, I'm not just happy this ran at all, but looks like it's still a little sketchy, you know? Now there could be other reasons why this is not working. I may just have to pull up an older hard drive with the IDE ribbon on it and use that. Okay, so we're gonna do basically the same thing. I'm gonna open this guy in a new window. We're gonna go to the hard drive files folder, which I do have to say I like how this version arranges the hard drive files. I shouldn't be copying the data, I should be just moving it, but oh well. Let it copy anyway. Instructions. I like instructions. Let's see what these instructions say. Use it to lock/unlock your Xbox drive. Okay. You can also use it to temporarily unlock it without disabling security. You can also run Xbox hard drive inside QEMU to prepare the drive, which is exactly what I'm trying to do. Just make sure you put your files in the C drive folder. By default, the program only detects external media. Okay, it's cool. So you don't accidentally format your internal drive. So external drives, not only USB drives. So that's interesting. I wonder if that means eSATA. Safely toggle to show all drives. Safe mode toggle to show all drives. Removed all external scripts. Okay, whatever. I'm not going to go into detail on that. Switch between 32 and 64-bit smart CTL. Blah blah blah. Uniform GUI size. What GUI? Some combinations of drives and adapters will hang. Not all adapters behave nicely with locked drives. If your PC can't detect your locked drive, please try another adapter. As a corollary, lock your drive only when you're sure you're finished. The moment you power it down, it will lock and your adapter may not read it anymore. Oh. That's an interesting thing. Good thing I read that. Sometimes operations will fail and for no apparent reason. Okay, no problem. That's understood. So now we'll run this one and pray that it works. Oh, it's like, oh, it might be dangerous. Oh, I'm not scared. Watch, I get freaking ransomware. Oh, that's so cool. So I see they made the window a little wider. So if you maximize it, I guess it's widescreen. Oh, and this menu's got a little more stuff in it. Right, so it recognizes my Western Digital drive, and let's just do that one more time. And it's seen it as drive number 3. So if I launch Xbox Hard Drive Maker and I say select hard drive 3, it does fucking nothing. It does nothing. That is a little frustrating. Let's see what else this can do. I think it thinks I'm pressing the any key or something, like a key is getting stuck. Maybe QEMU is double tapping key presses or something. Okay, ATA security is disabled, not frozen. So in other words, the drive is not locked. Alright, I'm going to be very deliberate about my keystrokes here. Yeah, okay, that didn't do nothing. Okay, that did not do anything. Okay, unlock drive doesn't disable lock. Toggle save mode, that will let me see my internal drives, which is a little hazardous. But it does give me an idea. Oh, that's cool. It turns red when you do that. Okay, and it does see all of my drives. Now, one useful thing would be is if I had installed in the front bay of my computer the internal SATA dock where I could just slide internal drives in through the front. Only caveat is I may have to install an additional card to accommodate more drives because the motherboard only has so many hard drive connectors on it. And I'm basically using like, I think all of them if you count my DVD. In fact, I don't even know if I'm using a DVD drive right now. I'm using 4 hard drives, so that uses up 4 of the serial ATA ports. This motherboard has at least 4, maybe 6. I'm not even sure if it has 6. I think it has 4 hard drive ports and 2 solid state drive ports or slots on the motherboard. So it may actually not have 6 connectors like I'm accustomed to. That might be why I've never plugged in my internal CD drive, and it's like this motherboard is a compromise. Like I got such a good deal on it. It's a crazy fast processor. I'm not crazy fast, but it's a good processor. It's like a i9 9900K 9th generation. It got like a 4 or 5 gigahertz turbo speed. And you know, it does what I need to quite handsomely, and it's compatible with the amount of RAM that's installed in there. It can do 128 even, but I bought it with 32. I bought an additional, 32 gigs of RAM, and that's how I got it up to 64 right now. And for a desktop workstation / gaming machine, this is excellent. For a dedicated, I don't know, but there are times where I wish I had a AMD Threadripper. And one of these days I'm going to do a video where I show people my computer. It's a little messy inside there right now. It's not terrible though, I've had worse, but I want to do a little more tidying up. I did a pretty good job case modding in terms of the cooling unit. You see, I have the day I bought this computer, or the day I bought this motherboard, I wanted to like immediately turn around and use it, and I didn't even want to wait like 3 days for a good heat sinking fan to arrive or get delivered, because it wasn't going to be like overnight. Even at Amazon, like, I don't know, I forget, it just wasn't going to be quick. So I decided that I would go to Best Buy and buy whatever was in stock that day. Plus it gave me an opportunity to visit some old friends. So I went to Best Buy. I pick up a Corsair water cooler, liquid cooling unit. It's an all-in-one type, so it's like not really a custom job. It's just a radiator about that big, and it's some tubes, and you mount it to the CPU. And let's get out of this menu and switch it back into safe. There we go. Okay, so and this case is a full tower case. It's pretty big, so I figured that even though it's not designed, because what they do is on a lot of new PC cases, you don't have bays in the front anymore, expansion bays for CD drives, DVD drives, whatever. People don't do that. Whereas me, it's like I want expansion bays, so I kept that choice. But I understand why people barely use them at all, to the point that it's really inconsequential. Like at the moment, I am literally using a DVD, slimline Blu-ray reader, so I can't even front. But nonetheless, it's like the point of having a big ass desktop computer is you can put everything in it and have like a single machine, a self-contained unit that has it all. And I just gradually install and upgrade components on it, and sometimes I'll do like a major upgrade, but I'll keep my old graphics card, I'll keep my old hard drives, because they're serving quite well. Usually in the middle of having an older motherboard, I've already put like newer hardware in it, newer peripheral hardware, so it makes no sense to upgrade the whole thing, and upgrading piecemeal is quite economical. So anyway, we got the I'm seriously considering just putting in a new internal hard drive controller, serial ATA, so that I could have more serial ATA connectors. And in fact, do I have? Yes, I do. I do have a like a serial ATA hard drive dock installed in my computer. So I'll show you what it looks like. A Donix 3.5 inch So it's actually a 5 1/4 inch to 3.5 inch, but it looks just like this guy here. And it's like, basically it goes into like the CD-ROM bay of the computer, and it accommodates a regular hard drive. And what you do is you have a key option, which I think the key is required because you turn the key and it powers up the drive. So that's kind of stupid that it's like, it's not a redundant key, it's like required. So if you lose the key, it's kind of inconvenient. But in any case, you snap it shut, you turn the key, the drive starts spinning up. So that's kind of cool. It's got a fan. The weakest link in this unit is the fan. Like when it gets dusty, the fan will make ugly noises. So if I went to rely on this again for the long term, I would probably stock up on spare fans for this thing, get the size in millimeters. And I think one of the issues I had when replacing the fan on another unit was like everything was kind of packaged in a really like cramped way. Like this fan isn't designed to be swapped out too easily, which is kind of stupid because like it's the weak link, and I've sometimes considered just either A, doing without the fan, or B, just putting a custom fan. In fact, the best option would be if I can get the same size fan, I would replace the fan. But what I would do is, like, I did this with my drone. I bought some connectors, so instead of having to solder my drone, whenever I want to replace the motors on my drone, I can just disconnect them with little wire harnesses. So that does the trick. Here we go. That's what it looks like when you put it in a computer. It's like basically like that. So it's like you have a CD, DVD drive, or a DVD burner. Then you have one of these, and it makes sense. Now, what Linux, I've never had problems. Well, yeah, I don't think I've ever had problems with Linux when running one of these. When running Windows, sometimes things you get a little sketchy if you like swapped in and out like 5 different drives in the same day. Sometimes it was just blue screen on you. You'd be like, So that was interesting, and I mean that all depends on your configuration. Now, on one angle, like my serial ATA ports were usually on the motherboard, but sometimes I would use like a expansion card, and that could be good because if you short something out, you can isolate the damage. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna install the drivers for this, even if it says I gotta reboot it, or just tell it not to reboot. Oh, these assholes. These assholes. I hate when they do this. Norton used to do this bullshit. Norton antivirus. You'd go to install the Norton utility and they'd be like, closing this message in any way will re-trigger the restart sequence. You want to bet? You want to bet? Oh yeah? Oh yeah? They don't know who they're playing with. So number one, assuming that this doesn't trigger the shutdown sequence instantly, using shutdown-A will abort a shutdown sequence. So that's number one. Closing this program will probably cause the machine to shut down because they pretty much said it quite clearly that, that closing this message in any way will restart your machine because, I gotta be coddled by some devs who think that I can't take the heat. So what is this program called? Fat Explorer? Alright, so when they say closing the message in any way will, cause this to happen, does that include closing it from over here? Well, I'm going to find out in a moment, but I want to be damn sure. Okay, that doesn't really trigger the CPU usage. Sometimes doing that, Windows will tell you if that is the program. Alright. Okay, so it's probably not going to work. But you bet your ass I'm going to try this. So I guess I should just make sure, see if anybody's watching real quick. Good, nobody's watching. But if anyone is watching, I want to thank you for watching. And I may do a short recording or stream later on, but in any case, we're gonna have to pick up from where we left off if my machine reboots. But the quick and dirty is that so far I'm having trouble interfacing with the Xbox hard drive from inside Windows. Worst case, I could dredge up an old Dell desktop and it will definitely work. Oh wait, no, it will only work if I'm using an old IDE hard drive. It will not work if I'm using a new serial. Oh wait, no, it will work. I'm sorry, I just came up with an idea. Sorry, I do that. I'm thinking out loud and I just had an idea. So before I risk my computer automatically restarting, we're gonna try one more thing. Okay, so we ejected the hard drive. Now we're gonna detach the power supply. Okay, now the power supply has been disconnected. Drive is spinning down. We're gonna do an experiment. My IDE adapter. Okay, so we're gonna see if this adapter will allow me to interface. How did I do this? Okay, because this is what you're gonna need when you want to put the hard drive in an old Xbox. You need to have this in place. So it looks like we don't need the Molex adapter for this, which sucks because it was a pain in the ass to install it. Nah, it's actually, but okay, it was much easier to connect it this way. It must be a higher quality connector. StarTech, the company that makes this adapter, StarTech, does make pretty good peripherals. Now, before we were using serial ATA. Now we're going to switch her over to IDE. Now there is a trick to this. See, pin number 1 is on a particular side of this notch here. Sometimes you'll have like a missing pin like over here to help you line it up. But if your memory doesn't serve you, if you don't, in fact, there's a little arrow that tells you, no, it doesn't actually tell you where pin 1 is, just 2 arrows on both sides. Okay, good. Okay, so now we know that this notch will be above the thing. So we're just gonna line it up, make sure the pins are straight. Now, a common thing that happens when you unplug one of these, it happens to the best of us, when you're unplugging one of these, you'll pull it out like that, and you'll inevitably bend the pins on one side or the other. It's not catastrophic, but it's something that if you get a good technique to avoid it, it's nice. It's nice to have a technique for avoiding that. Now, looks like we're going to leave the jumper settings alone. So far we got the USB adapter is attached to the IDE connector. And we have the power supply connector installed. So now we just got to plug in our AC power adapter. As soon as I can find the power cord, which is interestingly missing all of a sudden. Here it is. Okay. Drive may be spinning up. Yeah, I feel it rumbling. Okay, good. So while that's happening, if memory serves me right, I think Xbox hard drive maker beta 3.0 still has the hard drive files in it. Yep. So we're going to open this one only because I feel more comfortable with it. Although I like the menu on the newer one, it's just, you know, I remember someone in the forum saying, oh, there's a glitch of some kind. Okay. That's interesting. Okay, never mind. List drives connected, waiting for drive to appear. Nothing appearing. Well, this utility looks like it does something here, doesn't like something here. Oh, you gotta reconnect the USB cable, or in my case I just gotta toggle it. Okay, now Windows will kindly detect it. It might even automatically pop it up. Oh, my manners. That's what I'm doing here. List all connected drives. It shows me that a drive does exist. Now we're going to launch Xbox hard drive maker. We're going to select hard drive number 3. And it goes back to the main menu. So using the IDE to USB adapter does not magically fix this. I do have one more idea. But unfortunately, I'd have to go looking for an adapter laying around the house for it to actually work. Like, what I want to do is, if I could find a laptop hard drive adapter for the old Xbox, I could do the same thing I'm doing right now with a laptop drive without using the serial ATA to IDE converter. And that might actually give me some better results. But we don't have that at our disposal right now. So this is exact. Ow, no. Okay, we did good. We did well here. But my idea is, if I could remember how to do it. Actually, yeah, this should work. So laptop drives usually use so little power that they don't need their own power supply. So we're gonna try to supply power over USB. Actually, before we do that, we're gonna try something. We might fry this adapter before we get this far, but I'm genuinely curious if I can get this 1980s hard drive to work. And we're gonna start recording, because if the recording works, we can, you know, make a separate video. So I've plugged a 1980s or late 90s, late 80s, early 90s 40 megabyte desktop hard disk drive into here. Now we're gonna go back and plug in this power supply. Okay, power supply is in. Now we're gonna spin it up and pray. Ooh. Can you hear that? I'm gonna put up the volume. I'm gonna turn off the noise filter so you can hear this hard drive. It's really, really old school, so it makes like a very distinctive sound when it's running. We're gonna activate the USB after I disable the sound filter. Oh god, that was crazy. So when I turned on the USB thing, the hard drive went spinning. Oof. Oof. Work. That was scary. I'm gonna try to plug it in again because I'm a adventurer. Now, if we're lucky, it could just be the adapter I'm using that's causing the problem, but now good news is if I had to do some manual data please work. Right, we're gonna hit the button again. Okay, it spun down. Come on, don't break, don't break, don't. like really on edge about doing this now. Well, looks like Windows ain't detecting it. And that fit of ugly noises did not instill confidence in me about this hard drive. Excuse me. Sound check. Uh-oh. Now, interestingly, every time I initiate this hard drive, it makes the microphone cut out for like a second. So I'm gonna disengage this drive, and I'm gonna share some observations about everything here. Okay, I got my observations. This adapter actually says it's for USB 3.0. Therefore, the probability that this adapter would not have worked is a little higher than I initially realized going into this. What this means is that if I can supply a USB 2.0 adapter, it might work. If not, using the internal option will work, and it should give me the most promising results. So my task between tonight and tomorrow, in relation to this overall task, is to set aside a set aside an internal serial ATA card, a controller card that I could put into my PCI Express slot, and install it in my desktop if there's not enough ports, which there probably isn't. From there, we'll go and repeat the process, but this time we won't need a USB adapter, and hopefully it will be able to access the drive. It'll be able to format and partition the drive in the manner required by the Xbox, and then I will be able to put the data that I want into that drive. Now, it's still possible that this Fat Explorer program might come to the rescue, but I'm not counting on it because it's just I can't see logically why it would help. I mean, it's possible, but there's good reasons why it wouldn't work. So with that, I'm just gonna end this stream and let my computer restart at some point after I finish some FTP transfers, because I was copying data from an old Xbox. That's interesting. The operand word is was. Okay, actually, yes, it still works. So yeah, anyway, like and subscribe, unless if the view count is any indication, nobody's gonna like this stream because it was boring and we did not accomplish our objectives. But thank you for tuning in and have a good evening. And I look forward to posting a video again soon.